I've learned over the years that my greatest gift is also my greatest curse. I mean, curse may be a bit of a strong word, but I've learned over the years that one of my greatest gifts, and that is my tongue, the ability to speak, man, is also the thing that gets me and has gotten me into more trouble than I really care to even express on a 6 to 9 minute video. I mean, growing up, my parents, man, I had great parents. But growing up, whenever we would collide, it usually came back to something I said, or a way that I said it. I just couldn't help myself. It was the way that my tongue decided to both curse me and bless me that consistently growing up got me into trouble. By God's grace, we can utilize our greatest weaknesses in the kingdom, and they can be transformed into greatest strengths by His grace. And that's what's happened with my tongue. But today, I was deeply convicted by James chapter 3. Starts off talking to me, but it'll talk to all of us here in just a minute. It says, "Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly." Why does it say that? I mean, it almost is like it's saying, hey, everybody stay away from teaching. No, it's not. What it's saying is this. Why will we be judged more strictly? Why should not everyone become teachers? Because teachers literally get paid to talk. And the amount of words, the volume of the words that come from our tongue is pretty astronomical. Sometimes students will ask me, they'll be like, man, I just don't understand how, the guy just asked you to come up there and speak, and then you just spoke for the whole time. How do you do that? And I'm like, listen, I literally get paid to talk. That's what I do. It's my job. You being surprised that I'm able to do it is like looking at a construction worker or a carpenter and saying, how did you build the house? That's their job. That's what they've been trained to do. But not everybody should actually become a teacher. Why? And then it says, verse 2, we all stumble in many ways. We all have our blessings and we all have our curses. Anyone who's never at fault in what they say, notice what he says, what they say, is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. Why? It is unbelievable how our actions follow our grammar. How what we say impacts what we do. And a lot of the times, we don't even give what we say enough credit. We as a society, we speak so much, whether it be verbally or whether it be on social media, that we have lost the understanding of the power of a word, especially the power of a wayward word. A word that is said flippantly, without much thought, without much grace, how it devastates. But you have to understand that your relationship with God is determined by what you are saying. That's exactly what James continues to say in verses 3 and following. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Think about that for a minute. You put this bit in the mouth of a horse, and then if you just tug with the right or tug with the left, it moves the direction of the entire horse. Why? Because what is in the mouth dictates action. He says, or verse 4, or take ships as an example. My goodness, they are large. They're so large and they're driven by strong winds. And so we think that the strength is in the power of the wind, or we think that the strength is in the size of the ship. And then he says this, but they're steered by a very small rudder at the back. Just this piece of wood that you move. And it dictates where this large ship, it dictates where the power of the winds actually take the boat. He says they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Verse 5, likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body. Oh, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. I mean, every summer it seems like we We witness these wildfires, whether they're in California or whether they're in Colorado, and the fires are just devastating. A lot of times you can bring it back to, you can trace it all the way back to a small little spark. Maybe a cigarette that was flicked into a pile of leaves, or maybe an ember that didn't actually get put out after a fire. And it causes and ravages thousands of acres from a small little spark. And then he says this, the tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. Now, some people are reading this probably going, well, then I'm not going to ever talk again. Come on, be serious. It's not about never talking. It's about respecting every single word as either an offering or a curse, as either a blessing or a curse. That every word we say is an offering to the Lord. And very often, our grammar dictates our action. For example, I've seen children flail, absolutely flail. And their parents are talking to me saying, I don't know what it is that I need to do with this kid. I mean, they are out of control. I mean, this little kid's just a little idiot. They just make my life hell. All the while, the child's standing right there. We almost don't respect the words, thinking, forgetting that the words that are being spoken as curses over the child is dictating the movement of the child. It's why at a very young age, I understand that children's minds are not completely formed and they don't understand the significance of every word they say. But it's why, as a parent, I hold my child accountable to the words that they say, even when they don't understand them. Because children do not maybe understand the depths of all of the abstract realities of the definitions of each word. But when they speak a word that hurts someone, they know. When they speak a word that encourages someone, they know. And how they speak dictates their action. It dictates how they treat other children. It dictates eventually how they even treat themselves. If you are struggling with your relationship with the Lord this week, or your relationship with your children, or your relationship with your spouse, do something for me. Pay attention to your words. Are you speaking blesses or curses? Because remember, even small words of shame can devastate, can destroy entire forests. Pay attention to the words that you speak. And as you continue to speak the language of love, grace, and blessing, don't be surprised when you end up at the foot of the cross of the one that outpours them all. I love you guys. Have a good rest of the week.